If you haven't heard, Gen 4 has been added to Pokemon Go. Now, while not every single Gen 4 Pokemon is currently in the game right now, we do have stats and moveset information on all Gen 4 Pokemon. This particular video is the fourth part of a four-part series where I cover each and every Gen 4 Pokemon and their meta-viability in the game. This video in particular will be focusing on the Legendary Pokemon, except for the Lake Trio. They're at the end of the third video. And Gallade is also in this one too because I forgot about him. So if you haven't checked those videos out yet, links in the description to them. Actually, a link to the playlist so you can just coast on through. And yeah, enjoy. Then we're gonna get to the mega meat and potatoes. Here we got Dialga, and Dialga has a lot of hype behind it because it's a steel dragon type Pokemon. So it has all the benefits of being a powerful dragon type, which is that neutral DPS. But because of the steel typing, it's not weak to ice, and it's not weak to dragon, and it's not weak to fairy. So all of dragon type's weaknesses are resolved here. One problem it has is in its move pool, and for one, it's got Dragon Breath, which is salvageable if it were to get Dragon Claw or Outrage, but it also got Draco Meteor. And because Draco Meteor is a single bar charge move, your fast move kind of matters as far as its damage goes, because you're going to be doing a lot of fast move damage before you're finally able to unleash your charge move. So that's one kind of foot in the grave for it in terms of DPS. And then it's, Draco Meteor. It's a single bar charge move. Outrage is much better. So Dialga is still going to be a really good dragon type Pokemon. It's not going to be bad. It's going to be an excellent generalist and especially an excellent counter to other dragon type Pokemon. But the Draco Meteor and the Dragon Breath really hold it back. One thing that's interesting about it is it does have Metal Claw and Iron Head. And that's like the best possible scenario for it as a metal type attacker. So it's going to be interesting to see what the true stats are on Meteor Mash and comparing Dialga here to Metagross when it comes out. I think best case scenario, it's very likely that Metagross is going to be more powerful as a pure steel type, but the dragon set of resistances could prove to be very useful in the future raids where steel type is actually relevant. We don't really have any right now. So Dialga, very solid, but Draco Meteor and Dragon Breath, kind of eh. Then next up we got the Palkia. So Palkia, Dragon Water, also has the hype of being a dragon type that's not weak to ice. So, kind of interesting having to deal with this guy. This frontal view of Palkia is kind of weird. Like, I've never noticed how big Palkia's feet are until Pokemon Go, I guess. Very solid uber stats kind of dragon type Pokemon, and a little bit more blessed in the move pool. So it got Dragon Breath, which is, oh no, but it got Dragon Tail, which patches up the weakness that Draco Meteor has of being the single bar. Now you're actually dealing respectable damage until you can launch the Draco Meteor, which plays out to be a lot better for the Palkia here. Like if you look at comprehensive DPS TDO, so this is up against dragon type Pokemon, and you can see that Palkia is doing a bit better than Dialga. It's like 1.3 solid comprehensive DPS above the Dialga. What's the better move here but Dragon Tail? It has access to Dragon Tail and Dragon Breath. It's using Dragon Tail. Dialga is stuck feeling sorry with just Dragon Breath. So, rip on Dialga. And this is sorted by DPS times TDO. So, in terms of pure DPS, Rayquaza is still the straight up better Pokemon too. Let's not ignore that. Rayquaza, still the Dragon type champion. And these unique Dragon type Pokemon, still very good. But they got Draco Meteor, which is kind of keeping them from being like stupid crazy good. Alright, then we got Heatran. And Heatran is a silver medalist. Yeah, it didn't lose, but it kind of lost. Yeah. Heatran, I promoted it in the past as being the most busted fire type Pokemon. And it still is, but it got a nerf. It got nerfed from my expectations. It got Fire Blast, which is not as good as Overheat. So Heatran, still really good fire type. Still the highest TDO fire type Pokemon in the more relevant matchups because it gets the double resist and it's still very powerful, but its DPS not as good as before. So yeah, in the past when I was doing Heatran content, I talked about like what moves it could get and I compared it to the Regice right here and to compare it against these other Pokemon. Here's the Fantasy Future Blast Burn Blaziken. We don't have access to this right now, but in the foreseeable future, we'll probably get it. Heatran with Overheat. Having that, upper right corner solidified forever dominance. It didn't get Overheat. It got Fire Blast. So its DPS is now more in line with Entei's, but its TDO is still much, much higher. because it's got that doubled up resistances to the more relevant matchups. Steel type more or less resists everything that fire type does. So if you want a specialist for the job, you really don't need to look too much further than Heatran. But because Heatran doesn't have overheat, it has Fire Blast, using higher DPS options is going to be, much more reasonable than it would be otherwise. Much higher DPS options. Heatran would be the higher DPS option otherwise. Now it's not. So, yeah, now you've got your choice. High TDO, Heatran, or hold out for the Blast Burn Blaziken, or, you could use Moltres or Charizard or something. So it'll come down to what the matchups are in the future and, kind of judging the viability then. I think the biggest thing to take away from Heatran's position in Pokemon Go right now is rather than being the absolute 100% every situation best fire type, it's now like a really, really, really good fire type. Is it always the best? Probably not, but really good regardless. We got Regigigas, and Regigigas is just weird. I'm not sure if they're going to nerf it in some weird way, but it got a strange move pool. Got the Rock Smash like any other Regi did, but they didn't give it Focus Blast. Instead, they gave it Avalanche and Heavy Slam. I think I figured it out. Stone Edge, Regirock, Avalanche, Regice, Heavy Slam, Registeel. So it's got some weird flair there as like an ice type and a steel type. But because we got such like more concentrated, better specialists going on, I don't really see there being a lot of credence towards using it as an ice type or a steel type. Yeah, overall, I think Regigigas kind of lost in this fight. Regigigas was already like kind of like borderline interesting. Is it good? Is it bad? It looks cool, but I think overall, not that great. Then we got Giratina. Rip to the Giratina. Hope you do better in the future with like Shadow Force, or maybe they'll change your move pool to Shadow Ball. But as it stands, Giratina definitely lost in a really big way. A big, stupid, ugly way. Cresselia, it's got 152 attack. It's a legendary, so you can't put it in a gym. Enough said. Fion, weaker stats. It's technically like the baby kind of Manaphy, because you have to breed a Manaphy to get a Fion, but Fion can't evolve into Manaphy, so that's kind of weird. But Manaphy, pretty well-rounded stats, but I don't think it didn't really stand out to me overall. Bubble and Bubble Beam and Psychic. Oh wow, is this like the smallest move pool in the entire game? Okay, maybe it's Magikarp. Yeah, Magikarp's got the smallest move pool in the whole game. Smallest move pool number 2. It's also a mythic, so who knows when we're gonna get it. Then we got Darkrai, and Darkrai is actually pretty exciting. Really good like offensive stats. Its current projected CP is 3,739, and as far as its move pool goes, it's not like Giratina. It actually got a good move pool. It got Snarl and Fent Attack. Both these are extremely excellent Dark-type moves. Actually, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you which one's better. I think Snarl's technically better, but these are like both the best Dark-type fast moves that you can ask for. Dark Pulse, not that, it's not the best, it's not foul play, but it's better than Crunch. So, shoot for the moon, which is foul play, land among the stars, which is Dark Pulse. Darkrai here is definitely going to be the best Dark-type Pokemon in the game, arguably better than Tyranitar, which is interesting to think about. But it is a mythic Pokemon, so it might be limited in that respect. Darkrai, good Dark-type Pokemon, mythical, when are we going to get it? Who knows? And then Shaman's got its land form and its sky form, and actually they turned out really well. They both got Grass Knot. I'll show you the land form here. Oh, look at his little cute little Shaman hedgehog guy. Unlike Tangrowth, it didn't get shafted. It got Hidden Power, which means you could get Hidden Power Grass, and it got Grass Knot, which is really good. Technically double grass. Pseudo double grass, right? I guess being a mythic Pokemon, you are going to have that stress of wanting to get the right hidden power, I guess, so that is kind of annoying. But I think Grass Knot will do a lot to make up for any deficiencies in that regard. And if you remember from my grass type content here, for my old grass type content, here's the land form. Not that great. We got Alolan Executor being better in terms of DPS. Way better in TDO against a water type Pokemon. But the sky form, higher DPS than Raikou. And this was, contingent on it getting Grass Knot. And it got Grass Knot. So when Shaman sky form comes out in like a billion years, because it is a mythic Pokemon, and it's an altered form of a mythic Pokemon, so maybe 2020, right? But when we do get it, it's going to be quite possibly the greatest grass type in Pokemon Go. Celebi, failed us. But Shaman won't do us dirty. And yeah, then that takes us to Arceus, or Arceus, however you want to pronounce it. And nothing to really talk about here. It's the god of all Pokemon. It can have any Pokemon type, you know, in the main series games if it's holding the right plate to give it the right type. And in the Game Master, it is set up to have, you know, different types of Arceuses. So I don't know how they're going to handle that. Definitely like a 2020 deep future type Pokemon that we don't really have to worry about right now, in my opinion. And it's also technically a mythic Pokemon too. So no clue how Niantic is going to handle that. And as far as its move pool goes, kind of hard to talk about it because it's like, are the different forms going to get different move pools? And since it's such a deep future obtained kind of Pokemon, how many changes is it going to go through until then? So I don't think there's a whole lot of worth discussing Arceus right now. Let me get back to it. Yeah, Gallade sucks. Now you know. Its stats are decent, but the main thing that was like, you know, we're all sitting holding our breath for was the move pool. Just like Lucario, it got the not having dynamic punch treatment. So maybe in the future, if it gets that drain punch or the superpower charge move that was like data mined, maybe it'll be better. But right now it's got low kick and close combat. It did get Leaf Blade though. And I do remember in previous content, I was like, Gallade's the blade Pokemon. Being a blade is like its whole thing. It's gonna get the Leaf Blade. It's not gonna be good, but it's gonna get it. I know it. And guess what? It got Leaf Blade. So the Iron Face Pokemon didn't get Iron Head. The Drill Pokemon did not get Horn Drill. Tangrowth did not get Power Whip. Licky Licky did not get Power Whip. The Blade Pokemon got Leaf Blade, so good job, Niantic. Yeah, rip on the Gallade. That was a clip from my live stream, SwagTips. SwagTips streams every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time on the Twitch channel SwagTips. If you like this content and you want to see more like it, well then make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. And if you got any questions on this content that you want answered, comment below, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer. SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. If you're not familiar, I have a Patreon set up so I can afford a video editor while I'm in school, so I can continue to easily make YouTube videos while keeping up with my studies. If you'd like to support the Swag Man and is uploading and affording a video editor, head on over to patreon.com/swagtips. If you want some hype news on that, we do have SwagTips Central HQ, the Patreon Discord now set up. So if you want to mainline your SwagTips, this is the place to do it.